Hello students, welcome back to the EGDL video lecture series. Last week we started with isometric projection and I have solved 4 problems 5.1 to 5.4. Today I am going to take up 3 problems and I'll be uploading 3 videos today to your Google Classroom. Tomorrow I'll be uploading 3 more. So that makes 6 problems in isometric projection, which will be given as assignments to you, and you will be given a week's time to complete these 6 problems. Okay, so I am moving to the problem number 5.5 today. So that will be your first video which I am going to upload to the Google Classroom through the YouTube link. Okay, now you can come over here and see the sheet. So once again, if it is possible, I want you to incorporate both 5.5 and 5.6 in the same sheet. If it is not possible, you can make them in 2 sheets, but both will be considered as one assignment. Okay, now let me read out the problem for you. This is the problem. Problem number 5.5. A sphere of diameter 40 mm is placed centrally on the flat face of a hemisphere of diameter 60 mm. So you have 2 solids here. One is a sphere 40 mm dia and the other is a hemisphere 60 mm dia. Draw the isometric projection of the combination. Now I want to tell you what is a hemisphere. If you take a sphere and exactly cut it into 2 halves, that is called a hemisphere. Okay, so when I cut the sphere with a horizontal cutting plane and remove the top portion of the sphere, whatever portion that is left out is called a hemisphere. So if you look at the hemisphere, the top surface of the hemisphere will be a circle. Okay, the top surface of a hemisphere will be a circle, and you know how to draw the isometric projection of a circle. In the last video I have shown you how to draw the isometric projection of a circle, which will be an ellipse. Okay, so I am going to start the isometric projection of the hemisphere first. Over that I will place a sphere. Okay, so as just now I have mentioned, the top surface of a hemisphere will be a circle. Okay, I will draw the isometric projection of that circle first. You know the procedure. It was a 4-center method which we have adopted in the last video. So I am starting with the isometric projection of the hemisphere. In fact, the isometric projection of the top surface of the hemisphere. So I'll start with a horizontal line. So all the lines will be construction lines in the beginning. So I'll make them thin first. The diameter of the hemisphere is given as 60. So as usual, you require an isometric scale. I am not drawing the isometric scale here. You are already used to it. So you can construct an isometric scale at one corner to take isometric lengths. If you have the isometric graph sheet, it is not required for this problem to draw the isometric scale. Okay. So I am drawing 2 isometric axes, both inclined at 30 degrees to horizontal. So I will take this as ISO 60. Okay. Now along the next axis, this is also an inclined axis. Along this also I will take ISO 60. So both these axes are inclined at 30 degrees to the horizontal. And on each I have taken ISO 60. This line I am drawing for my reference. Then by drawing 2 more isometric lines, you can complete this rhombus. Okay. So all the 4 edges of the rhombus are ISO 60 each. Okay. Now this I have drawn for the top surface of the hemisphere. As I have just now mentioned, the top surface of the hemisphere is a circle and its isometric projection will be an ellipse. So I am going to draw the ellipse in this box now. You already have seen what is a 4 center method. So I will mark the midpoints of all the 4 edges. When I say midpoint, it should be ISO 30. Yes. Now the first center, this is the smaller diagonal of the rhombus, this is the longer diagonal. The first center will be one of the tips of the shorter diagonal, and the radius will be the distance from this corner to the midpoint of opposite side. This is the radius. Okay. So take this point as center and this as radius. You draw an arc. The arc also I am making it light. This is the first arc. Similarly, this is the second center. This time the radial line is this and this. Okay. Now this is the center and this is the radius. You can draw the second arc. This also I made light. Now this is the third center. Okay. This is the radius, or this is the radius. You can draw the third arc. You are going to use compass. Don't use freehand. This is the third arc. This is the fourth center and this is the radius. This or this. This is the fourth arc. So this represents the top surface of the sphere. Okay. Now I will draw the bottom surface for the hemisphere. What do I do is take this point as center, the midpoint of the major axis. Okay, that you take as center, and the radius is half the major axis. From here to here you take as the radius. Once again you are going to use compass. This is the center, half the major axis as radius. You draw the arc. So that is the hemisphere. In other words, it is the half sphere. You have taken a full sphere and cut it at exactly at the center. This represents hemisphere. Now over this you are asked to place a sphere centrally. Okay. The sphere diameter is given as 40 mm. In the last one of my videos, you have seen how to draw a sphere. Okay. Because the diameter is 40, I will take the radius will be 20. So from the center, I will mark ISO 20 first. So this becomes the center for drawing the circle, which will represent a sphere. So this height is ISO 20. You are going to take this as center and take actual 20 as radius. Okay, actual 20 as radius, you will draw just a circle which will represent a sphere. So that represents the sphere. Okay. Why we take actual 20 as radius? It is for the appearance. It should look like a sphere to you, not as a circle. Okay, that's all the reason. So now what you can do, whatever lines you have within the sphere can be erased. And the portion that is visible has to be made dark. Even while making the arcs dark, you have to use compass only, don't use freehand. If you use freehand, it looks ugly. use your compass to darken the arcs. That's it. So it is a combination of two solids, a sphere kept over a hemisphere. So this is the first problem of your next assignment. I'll take a short break and come back and solve the next problem, 5.6.